I feel like I've got a lot of stuff to buy though from having gone to NAB.
That's the real problem with going to NAB.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not only things that you, one, want to buy, two, are discounted for like the 3 days surrounding NAB.
Yes.
There was a few of those where it's like, yeah, if you just scan this QR code, it'll take you to, and you get like 40% off all these lenses. And I'm like, well, I don't really need those lenses for a few months or maybe ever. But now I really need them because they're super cheap.
You gotta take advantage of the deals, right?
Right? Gotta get those deals, man. Deals on deals. And so there's those. And then there's the, hey, we have a Kickstarter coming out in June, or this is going to be released in late May. And it's like not out yet. So then you're like, oh man, now I'm going to have to buy this thing later. And so it's now, soon, and later. There's a lot of things I have to get.
Or there are products where it's like, well, I want this thing, but it comes without drives and storage prices are insane.
Storage prices are crazy.
Need to take out another mortgage before, before that one comes out. And it's just, NAB can be expensive.
That is just all true. Just all true. It reminds me I need to add something to my B&H cart.
Just as a side note, need to add something to my B&H cart real quick.
Well, like right before we left, I realized that I couldn't find my SD card reader.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked to those guys at ProGrade, and I was like, maybe I should get one of these bad boys. But now they're coming out with that new one. So I'm like, do I wait? That's all tough. But I feel like I just need to get one.
So one of the things that you're referring to when you say that NAB had some some limited time deals, one thing I will point out to you that I'm not sure if you've realized yet, but B&H currently has those same prices
on everything.
Which means you can get the same things with the the pay-boo tax-free situation.
So if I was going to buy, I don't know, NAB magnetic lens filters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the same price right now. I mean, probably for the same length of the NAB sale right now, it's all the same price on B&H.
Oh, boy. We talked about this, I think, maybe a week ago or something, where we were talking about ND filters, and we talked about that adaptable ND filter thing. And I don't know, I think that was last episode.
Yeah, I think it was. The H and Y adapter thing.
And I had talked about how my whole ND filter situation has gotten a little fraught because I have to go back and take a new inventory of which filter sizes I have on for lenses, and then maybe I need to get a new ND filter. And this magnet system seems really, really, really good after seeing it in person, getting to mess with it. And yeah, I guess I just have to buy an ND filter in the next 24 hours.
Yeah. Got to take advantage of those deals.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the thing you're talking about, is the NAB JetMag Pro magnetic filter kit. And I mean, it's just way cheaper than the Polar Pro option because you get with it, you get a set of, or at least, I mean, they sell all these different kits, but you can get like a set of adapter rings to where, with the Polar Pro, it's like, well, I need an 82 millimeter ring, so I'll buy a $50 82 millimeter ring. And then I need a 67, so I'll buy another $50 67 millimeter ring. With this, at least on this 20% off sale, you can get 4 adapter rings that go from 67 up to 82. So I guess it has probably 72 and 77 in there as well. And a front cap and a 1 to 5 stop variable ND, all for $250. And so it's just so much cheaper than getting that through Polar Pro. And I think Polar Pro makes great stuff.
I'm gonna need you to send that to me immediately.
Yeah. And the other nice thing about that kit is that, or the NAB one, is there's a little marking on the rings, and so it magnetically attaches. But then if you rotate it so that the lines up with the marking, it locks it in place. So you don't have to worry about it popping off, which seems kind of nice.
That does seem kind of nice. Oh my gosh. Daniel, I'm over here on the B&H right now. This is real good pre-show territory.
You're looking at those prime lenses.
Look, okay, so we got to mess with the entire. I mean, this is I'm already
we're all over the place in this show.
We're almost even into topics, but I got to mess with those NAB. They had the three different brands of their lenses. They had the Athenas, and then the new, I think they're called Aurora or something.
Well, they have that. They have an Aureus.
Yeah.
Aureus.
Those are the new ones, ish. And then they had I guess those aren't new, but they're newer than the Athena. And then they had the retro ones that are not out yet, but coming out. Anyways,
the retro ones are the Athena Prime Rewind.
I want all of those so bad, and we'll talk about those a little later, I think, or maybe next week, or I think we have a lens episode planned where we talked about those. But the point is, the Athena Primes were like pretty good. Just like I was like, these are like fairly decent. These are pretty decent lenses. Like obviously they have them like set up for you to like look at them on these fancy cameras and all this sort of stuff. But point is, you can get the T1.9 like full 5-mount lens set with drop-in filters. Normally $6,000 for the 5 lenses for $3,600.
So what? And these are the Athena Primes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm trying to understand here what that is when I'm looking at their site. I guess that's I see.
I mean, I'm looking at B&H.
Yeah.
But if one was trying to get a bunch of PL lenses for a future PL camera and didn't want to go crazy, this is a really good deal, Daniel. I feel like
sure is.
I feel like one could save $2,400 on lenses right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have anything that shoots PL, and I feel like I have to buy these.
Well, I mean, they make you can get adapters. Like I think actually Nisi even makes a whatever mount, like let's say L to PL adapter. That is also on sale for $167. So if one were to know somebody who had L mount lenses,
I just so bad want a set of Cine Primes.
Just to
be like, oh yeah, I'm like, oh, I'll get a camera, but look at all these prime lenses I have. Let me pull out
look at them.
Let me pull out my case of matching prime lenses that are all geared and are all delicious and in a set, and I just, ugh.
I mean, they even come with a case. You get a Pelican case thing, right?
Daniel, I want them so bad.
We may need to discuss this after the show.
Okay, I still want them so bad. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, this was your first NAB.
Mm-hmm. It was also your first NAB, coincidentally.
What
if it actually wasn't your first NAB? What a reveal that would be.
Yeah, I've been hiding it from you this whole time.
Yeah, you've actually been like every year for...
Mm-hmm. Did you feel like a fish out of water, or did you feel like you were at home?
I didn't really feel like a fish out of water. It kind of felt like, we nerd out about cameras all the time, and it was really weird to be in a situation where most people were nerding out about cameras. And, I mean, you kind of feel like you talk the same language as everybody, and that was fun. I've been to work conferences before, so the whole, like the dynamics of it as far as like there are booths and you go up to the booths and talk to people, like that all felt very normal to me. And I think like all in all, I'd say it met my expectations, but it was really fun.
It was a lot of fun. There was just so many things to look at, and it was just so much stuff. And we were just there for the 2 of the days, and
we spent most of those 2 days on the show floor. Like we were there from, probably like 9:45 or 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. 2 days. We took very few breaks. Like we would take a 30-minute lunch break, and then maybe we'd sit down for 5 minutes. But with that, and otherwise we were walking around the show floor talking to people. We didn't go to any sessions or anything, and I still felt like we definitely didn't see every booth. By no means did we see every booth. I mean, it just feels like you can't see everything. You have to pick and choose.
There's 3 halls set up, and we didn't even go to one of the halls. And that was mostly for like not stuff that we would talk about here, but it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah.
It was just like so much. I liked being able to, I liked talking to people about the camera stuff. And it was always a confidence boost if you were talking to someone about camera stuff and then you ask them a question and they had to go get somebody else to answer the question.
That was such a good feeling.
It's like
there was at least one or two where it was like 3 people deep. Like we'd ask a question, they'd go ask somebody, that person wouldn't know they had to go ask somebody else. You're like, yeah, gotcha.
I mean, sometimes it's like you should just go ask a spec sheet. Why are you asking a person this question? This isn't their responsibility to know this information.
Right.
And it's like, I was just kind of making conversation. You don't need to go get somebody.
Yeah.
But sometimes it was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure when we get into this episode, we'll maybe talk a little more about the specifics. But overall, it was just like it was really fun to get to see everything, you know, and so much of this stuff. I mean, we all, you know, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this have been to camera stores, and you know, it's nice going into a camera store and be able to, you know, pick up a Sony A7 IV or whatever and play with it. But there's so much photography and cinema gear that is not going to be at your local camera store that you're never going to get to see, you know, in person unless you know, buy it or rent it, you know, or go to something like this. And there were so many things that we kind of got to like get our hands on and play with the menus and stuff that that was a really cool experience that we probably wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Yeah. It's like, I don't imagine a situation where I'm ever really going to get to mess too much with like an Arri 35 or like an Alexa 65 or something. And those are just like there. It's like super cool. And it's a lot of that where, I mean, I got to play a little bit with a Canon PowerShot V1, and I haven't held one of those before. Yeah. One, surprisingly chunky. Yeah. I was like,
Canon's so much about those like rounded edges and, you know, big comfortable grip. And it's like even their compact cameras are like that.
Yeah. But also it's like, it's just so round you want to like put it in your mouth. I don't know why, but a lot of their
stuff.
They
might have frowned on that.
A lot of stuff. Yeah, they're like, excuse me, sir.
Sir, can you please take that out of your mouth?
Happened a lot, actually. It was very, it's a real problem. So that was actually really cool. And I think the hard part with it is, I mean, normally we're getting things just from like camera news sites and things and like YouTube videos. And, you know, we're not necessarily on the front lines of like new information because this is more of just like talking about gear show and not a news show. Yeah. And being at NAB, there was so much of it where it's like, oh yeah, this is coming out in 2 months, or no one's covered this yet. Like, here's a thing, and we'll tell you about it, and you're like the first person to know about it, and that was interesting. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'd like to know more, but you can't like Google it. Yeah, you just have to like ask them. And they write it down.
One of the cameras we looked at, if you get online right now, you cannot. It's not out yet, and you cannot find like what codecs it supports, what frame rates and stuff. And we're just like, they're like playing with the menus and you're like, oh, I see what I can select on this menu. And like, sure, it's beta firmware, but like that's information you can't get anywhere else, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's super neat. So
I also felt like there's a lot of good discovery there in terms of, I mean, there was definitely companies I hadn't heard of and products I hadn't heard of. And sometimes if you don't know what to look for, you're not going to find it. And it was cool to kind of get that hands on. Like, I guess I mean, I think I maybe heard that NEC made the magnetic lens filter stuff, but I didn't know much about it, you know, and being able to see that and like talk to somebody about it was like, oh, like this is something I didn't know about and I might actually be interested in it. And there were a lot of things at the show like that.
Yeah, for sure. Super fun.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Vegas is very expensive.
Vegas is really expensive.
We went to Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast. And I mean, I knew it was expensive. I've been to Vegas many times, but for some reason, like it was still like a little bit of sticker shock paying like $25 for a breakfast sandwich and a coffee.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. Everything was like that though. But that's like, I mean, it's Vegas, right? Yeah, you're supposed to gamble profits and then use the profits to pay for the food.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's just how that works.
Yeah. A lot of fun though. I wish we had met some listeners of the show. I don't know if any
you didn't meet any?
I didn't. Did you?
I think they were just a little shy.
They were shy.
Yeah. Look, I saw plenty of YouTubers.
That was funny too.
And
it's weird seeing those people in person, isn't it?
Well, they're all shorter than I expected. 100% of them. I'm like, I didn't think I would be looking down at you.
I'm kind of bummed Gerald wasn't there because I would have liked to have seen whether you or Gerald was taller.
Well, I'm obviously taller. That's just indisputable. Point is, I don't think I went up to any of them and said, "Hey, love your stuff."
Yeah, that's true. I didn't either. I was intimidated.
So I was just like, "Yeah, they're busy," and so it's probably just that.
Yeah, I guess so.
You guess. You're like, whatever.
Well, should we start the show and then talk more about NAB?
Well, that's why we're here.
You're right. Welcome back to the Camera Gear Podcast. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Lucas.
And we're here today to talk about the gear, software, and techniques we use to shoot photos and video.
Okay, so I think in previous years, whenever we've done NAB coverage, I've been like, oh, like what's the top things? And it's just like a big old episode. Being there in person, it's like there's so much more information and things that you get because you go and you talk. It's like, oh, I'm going to talk with Fujifilm for like 10 minutes. And you kind of get more information. And we had like specific meetings with like Insta360 and Blackmagic. And so we had like longer, like 30-minute conversations with some companies. And it's like, okay, cool. There's just a lot more to come out of this. And so I kind of like took all of our notes and have been planning forward episodes of like, how do we kind of dig into each of these different things that we talked about. And I think
there's way too much to just cover in one show.
I think I have like 7 episodes planned out for NAB stuff.
Perfect.
And like companies seem to be releasing a lot of stuff around this too. I mean, so like for Insta360 is going to come out with that Luma, whatever, like a collaboration competitor to the Osmo Pocket for
Luna.
Luna, sure, Luna. And I mean, while we were there, they're like, here it is in a frosted glass. And you can see that one has 2 lenses and one has one, but you can't look at it. And then like day 2, people start posting videos on YouTube about it. And I'm like, why not just show it off at the show? Anyways, just so much. So like, there's going to be more things that are going to end up sprinkling coming out of this. And so it's just going to be like 2 months of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but today, I think just kind of as like we're the last day of the show's today. We spent 2 days there. Like maybe can we run through like our top 3?
Mm-hmm. I think
and just kind of chat through it, and then we'll get in probably deep in the more camera gear podcast fashion in the next few weeks.
I think it sounds good. How do you want to do this? Do we want to like run through mine and then yours? Do you want to alternate? Or
let's just do them in order. Let's do your top 3, and then we'll do my top 3, and
sure,
we probably won't even have time to get to this bonus topic at the end.
All right. Well, my first one, and I kind of took this as sort of like experiences rather than specific products, but I'll bring in some products as we talk about it. But the first one for me was getting the hands-on time with the cameras at booths, and they had a lot of these booths had basically like full camera setup. So it'd be like a tripod with a camera and a monitor, and a lens, and then they had, I wasn't expecting this, but they had, scenes that you could shoot basically with the camera. So you could play with the camera, but at a lot of the booths, they had like models there doing stuff. And so like the Blackmagic booth had, somebody painting. There was a guy just working out, just like lifting dumbbells.
There was definitely like 2 categories of booths. There was like Blackmagic and Canon, or Canon had here's a bar, and then like someone sitting at a mariachi booth, like
playing guitar.
And so there was things like that where they were scenes, and then there was the ones where they just had like a model sitting in a chair making aggressive eye contact anytime you went up to a camera.
Yes.
So like you pick up a camera and then you like look at the screen, and all of a sudden the person's just really staring down the barrel of the lens, making the most aggressive eye contact they possibly can. And I would say I preferred the scenes maybe a little more because that just felt a little personal.
It did.
It's like, I'm just looking at this camera and, oh, hello.
Yep.
This is maybe okay.
Yep. It was funny and weird, but honestly, it was super valuable because you could try out the whole setup. And for example, like at Blackmagic's booth, it was fun getting to say like, okay, here's a Pixis 12K. I can play with the menus, and then there's actually a scene where I can try focusing and like play with the peaking and all that stuff. But one thing I really got out of that was seeing the value of having, like really good Cine Prime lenses. And it sounds like such a silly thing to say because like, duh, of course the lens makes a big difference. But, I do think it's really easy to think that the camera sensor and the color science make the most difference, or, how different really is one thing from another. But just seeing some of those setups, like whether it would be Blackmagic or, when we were at Nisi's booth, etc., being able to actually play with the lens and kind of see those qualities, I felt like gave me a new appreciation for things like Cine Primes. And it makes you realize like how good something can look. And that's just straight out of camera. There's no color grading happening. It's just the look in the camera.
Yeah, you're just looking at the screen.
But it really did feel like in some of those cases, like, okay, yeah, this does actually look a lot better than my S1 II with a Lumix 85 mil wood. That was a neat experience.
It also gave you opportunity to see a lot of different configurations because made a beeline towards the Fuji booth to play with the GFX Eterna, But and yes, they had 6 or 7 of those set up with a variety of different lenses. But also there were quite a few companies that were putting out lenses with 65 millimeter coverage.
Yeah.
In order to accommodate things like the new Alexa 65 and the GFX Eterna. And so there was a lot of GFX Eternas just on the floor with somebody else's lens that they're a third-party lens that they're like, hey, check out our new product. We've put it on this Fuji camera.
Yeah.
And so you gotta play with those outside of like just that specific manufacturer's context to see how they could be used in different different applications.
Yeah, and it's not even just about how it looks, but it's also, what does it feel like to focus this lens? Things that you kind of only get with a hands-on. And it was really fun doing that with an actual scene to shoot rather than just like picking it up and holding it.
Yeah, for sure.
That was cool. My second one was the Kinfinity Vista. So that was their new little camera that they've announced. I mean, people listening to this, you can find stuff online about it, but they haven't like officially announced it or released it yet. I think they said June or July, something like that. That thing was just so small.
There was so many people wanting to get their hands on that thing and look at it and play with it and all this sort of stuff. And you're right. They're announcing it sometime in July, and that thing is just not done.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool. And it was just so tiny. But also they're like, hey, check out this one. And you like close the screen and the screen's just stuck upside down.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's stuck upside down. And they go, it's in beta.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
Clearly
I get it. Some software stuff they're working through.
Yeah.
What was cool about that one though is we saw it on the second day. It was one of the last things we saw really at NAB. And we had gone through the whole first day, and I think that night at the hotel I was just browsing Instagram and I saw somebody like post a picture of it or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. We were at the show and it was like, oh, let's just like pop by their booth tomorrow so we can see that. And that felt like some of the cool like NAB experience of like, oh, I just found out, like somebody told me about this new thing, like let me go check it out. Whereas otherwise we'd be, looking online trying to find information. Like it was just a really neat experience being like, let me just go hold it and see it. And
for sure. Yep. And like Kinfinity hasn't really announced much of anything about it. They're like, here, take a look at it. Yeah. And like it was cool to like hold it and see it, but it's also they're like no information on like codecs or anything that's going to shoot. And like talking to the people there, you're like what is it? Just like, are we talking like ProRes? Are we talking RAW? Are we talking HD? Like what does it shoot? And the guy's like, I don't know. Maybe the same as the last one.
Well, then you were kind of going through the menus, and kind of found, like the list of resolutions and stuff. And, who knows how many of those will make it to the final release, but it kind of at least gives you like a ballpark.
Yeah, you flip through it and it's like, okay, ProRes 4444. It's got like OpenGate 6K and like here's a bunch of other modes and then crops and 4x3 and 3x2 and all this stuff. But like you said, beta firmware. So like, is that just a dump from the Mavo or is that actually what these things going to ship at? So I think like they haven't announced it. We don't know. They had stuff on camera that we can like make projections about. But just seeing that thing, I was like, they had like this custom wooden grip that someone made for them. Tilta is. It was super fun, and I don't know.
I really have a soft spot for really small cameras. Like, it's not like I'm frequently in situations where I need crash cams, but I just love the idea of having like a tiny little camera that still has really good optics and really good, quality and et cetera. And I really want something like that just to like stash somewhere during a shoot, like do a music video, have like a little camera you can put somewhere. And so I think things like that are really cool.
We'll have to see like what it launches at price wise. I think they said they're shooting for less than 3K or something, but something like this is, I mean, Kinfinity has always been maybe like a little weird as far as their camera stuff. Their color science has always been kind of, it's like you kind of have to work with it a little more.
Well, and I think sometimes their software can be a little buggy.
But something like this, it had like a giant screen on the back, like a huge screen, even though the camera's just like really, really small.
Percentage-wise of the camera, the screen was really big.
Yeah, and I look at it and I go, this is an exact competitor to the Nikon ZR.
And roughly similar price.
Right. And like with the ZR being $2,200 and that also has a giant 4-inch screen. Yeah. I'm betting that like when this comes out, the ZR is going to be the more interesting buy because you can get Red RAW on it compared to this, which is going to be whatever Confinity is RAW. And I think if you're just picking on codecs and 4-inch screens, the Nikon's going to be the more interesting thing.
I do think I like the form factor of this thing though.
I like the form factor of this more.
And the one they showed, at least again, like product that's not been released, had a 240 gig SSD in it. Like built-in storage, which is also really interesting.
That is like super, super interesting. It only had one UHS 2 slot in it, not UHS 2. It was a CF Express Type B.
Right.
But if it's got an internal drive.
Yeah.
But also if you're shooting ProRes 4444 HQ, a 256 drive is going to record like 30 minutes of video.
It does have 2 full-size HDMI ports on it.
That was super interesting.
Yeah.
You don't really see that too much. I mean, even like on cinema cameras, it's you got like one HDMI and then you got a bunch of SDIs, which makes sense. But if you're in like a less pro workflow, HDMI maybe makes more sense. Or less like if you don't have like a big production where you're going to be using SDI, HDMI could make more sense. And having 2 is awesome.
Yeah. So super, super interested in that camera. Can't wait to see more about it as it gets closer.
I hope you can set one up as like clean feed and monitor feed. I'd be shocked if you couldn't.
That's got to be what it's for.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking one for, I mean, I guess you would do clean feed out for a Teradek or something, but very, very fun.
Pretty neat.
You wrote "it's so small," like so small on here.
I wrote "it's so small" 3 times.
It's very small. It's just you just want to hold it.
Yep. Just want to cradle it.
Yeah.
My last one of the 3 was just kind of the overall interaction with brand reps. It was fun going up to the booth and saying, what new stuff are you guys announcing? It's like you said, almost everyone had new products. That was like, it's just fun to see the newest thing. Like, that's obviously we love gear and it's fun to see all of that. You could also kind of get some hints sometimes about future products. People didn't always want to, obviously they're not going to they have what they're going to announce, and then they have stuff that they're not ready to announce. And, they're going to be, pretty tight-lipped about things they're not ready to announce. But, you kind of got some hints here and there about what could be coming.
Yeah, it was very fun whenever you would ask a pointed question like that. And they're just like either really cagey about it, or they're just like, you can tell they know something and they just don't want to tell you.
Yeah.
Very fun.
Really enjoyable. I also kind of got, you could kind of get a feeling for how open some of these companies are to feedback. And I'd say, there may be some standouts there. Like Blackmagic is a good example where, we talked to the people from there and like over and over they were saying, we did this because we got feedback from some of our users and people said they wanted this. And so we added it. And it was cool to get that feeling from some of these brands that they're not just kind of dictating what the market will have, like, well, this is what we want, so this is what we're going to do. But like, they actually do take feedback from people and they're interested in what you think and what you want. And
like Blackmagic gave that one specific example of like went to like, I think it was like Color Studios or something. They're like, what's your top 5? Like, what are the things that you're missing out of the software? And they usually did all of them. We were like, what?
Yeah.
I still just don't. I mean, we told that to them when we were talking to them, was like, I don't know how. Like, I don't know how. Like, how do you do just so much? Like, how? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're just that good.
Yeah. And, and with some of the Kickstarter ones, like we talked to those guys from Unify Drive where they're coming out with that Pixel Mob AI thing later this summer. And, it's like their marketing manager showing us the product. And, we asked some questions and there were some times where he was saying like, well, we're not really sure what we're going to do yet. Like, what do you think we should do? And, we asked about price and he said, what do you think it is? And we kind of talked a little bit about like, what should it be? And it was just like, it's kind of neat getting to give feedback like that.
Yeah, that was really fun for sure. It was a lot of where he's like, I really want to do this, but I don't think I can because it's going to cost too much.
Yeah. He's like, my boss will not let me do this because it's too expensive.
We're like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
I definitely get that.
But it's kind of like, you kind of get to see behind the curtain a little bit of, we're so used to just seeing press release, that it's been announced, and it's cool to get like ahead
it's just
of that.
like it's all just people, right? I was working for these companies trying to make cool products, and I mean, all these companies want people to buy their thing.
Yeah,
right?
they want to make something useful and
they're not just they're not like Sony where they're just like making something and then being like, you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
I'm mostly kidding.
I don't know if it should be. They kind of were that way.
Anyways, sick burn. No,
I think Apple is a really good example of this. Like, I'm sure Apple takes feedback from somebody, but the persona that Apple puts forward with their products is we have told you what you need, you will like it, and you will buy it. Like there's not a lot of like feedback loop, and it's just very different from a company like Blackmagic where they're like, well, how would you use this? Like, what are you missing? You know?
Yeah, it definitely has a different feel, and I know that Apple does they do all their market research, and
of course,
I'm sure that a lot of the why they're driving was like statistically, this is how you want to use this.
Yeah,
but it was definitely my impression that pretty much everyone we talked to, it like legitimately cared kind of about feedback and wanting to make something that was really cool.
Yeah,
and everyone seemed like really interested in what they had. I mean, I know it's like you're talking to marketing people very much, but even still, it was fun.
Yeah, it was.
What any of those like that stood out to you?
What do you mean? Any of what?
I have these notes here. Is that a few standouts?
Well, yeah, we kind of talked about some of them. I mean, I was just kind of saying like, you know, Blackmagic I think was an example of really wanting feedback. The Unified Drive guys with their Kickstarter seemed like they wanted feedback. I felt like from Fuji we had a really good conversation with the guy we talked to about, you know, what's Fuji doing in the cinema space, and like what types of things could be coming in the future, and you know, like it felt like a really fun conversation of, you know, what might the future possibilities be, and like as users, like what are we interested in, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We talked to Anti-Gravity, which is the 360 drone people. They told us a couple of things that like might be coming from them in the future, and like, you know, that was again just kind of like a cool, like they're clearly not ready to announce anything, but just, you know, fun to kind of see like what could be coming next.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So any other overall impressions?
I mean, I know you've got some that I'll have thoughts on when we talk about them, but you know, like overall it was great. Like I've really enjoyed seeing all the stuff. You know, there was a lot there where like companies that I really haven't followed that closely, you know, it's like, well, if their boot's right here, like I might as well like look at it and see. And there was always interesting stuff to look at.
So much stuff.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about yours next. If you'd like to support the Camera Gear podcast, you can subscribe to us on Patreon. It's only $3 a month, and you'll get early access to episodes, longer pre-shows, and occasional bonus content like written reviews of gear or maybe some photos we've taken on one of our recent adventures. This really does help us pay the bills and keeps this show running, and we'd love to have your support. You can find out more at patreon.com/cameragearpodcast, or there's also a link in the description for this episode. Thanks for listening, and now back to the show.
I feel like we're staying at a pretty high level, and hopefully that's not too high for some people. But there was so much to get into, and obviously, like what I want from the show is to be talking about like the number of teeth on a cinema lens gear and that sort of thing. Yes. And I think it's gonna take a while to get through a lot of that stuff. So we're gonna bring all that out into future episodes.
Yeah, because we have to get deep on one topic to do that.
Yeah, so which we will, but kind of staying at that high level. As far as maybe my top 3 from the show, which there were so many, and
yeah, it was hard to pick 3.
Yeah, I put the NAB booth on here because I went by that one, and I was just kind of like, I know y'all's lenses. Like we've talked about, you know, like the Athena Primes before on the show. I kind of remember when they came out, but I was like, just talk me through it. Like, what do you got? Show me your stuff. And they had 4 different lines of cinema lenses, and he just like talked me through all of them, and we talked through like lens coverage and which ones you would use where and like their price points, and I got to like see a number of these lenses on different cameras, and I talked to the marketing guy a little bit, and he's like, yeah, we're just like a small team out of California and blah blah blah, and I spent a lot more time at that lens booth than I thought I would.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was a pretty good, like, that was pretty enlightening coming away from that and feeling, I mean, a lot of times you see these, you'll see these like third party cinema lens, not third party, you'll see these cinema lens companies where it's like, it's not Cook, or it's not like, I don't know, Atlas or like Panavision or something, where it's like, this is a $20,000 to $60,000 lens. And instead it's a cinema lens that's like manual focus, it's geared, but it's like truly intended for PL mount, but individual lenses cost less than $2,000.
Yeah. Which like for people at our level, probably for like a lot of our listeners, like that's way more realistic as far as something you might actually buy.
Yeah, for sure. It's like if I'm buying something that is like, I'm stretching to get into like a used Alexa Mini, or I'm gonna buy, I don't know, like a red Komodo and adapt it, or I'm gonna get like a Pixis or something, where you're spending maybe $15,000 or less on a camera, and you're wanting to have like a full set of cinema lenses to go with it, so that you can like use or operate, but as just like a small band. It's hard to spend, like even like the Cooke SP3s or like the new Canon Cine lenses that are $6,000 a piece.
That's a lot of money.
It's like, it's hard to want to spend like, I knocked my laptop over. No, it's not a laptop, Daniel. It's an iPad. It's hard to want to spend like $20,000. And so, but it also makes you want to kind of, at least for me, it's like how much do I dismiss out of hand companies like Suri or like is it Blazer? I know it's a brand that Suri makes, but there's also anyways.
Maybe there's
or like Nisi or whatever, where it's like these lenses are cheaper. And so getting to kind of like see some of those and like see how they look and like feel them on camera and like feel the build quality and all that sort of stuff, and like talk through the lineups. It's like these are actually the decent quality products that maybe they're not like a Cooke lens, but they're like still pretty good. And so I had a really nice time like talking through that and talking through their new products and getting like to see some of those stuff. And walking away, I'm like way more inclined to want to buy a set of these lenses of like eventually after we test, a few different cinema cameras and decide what we're going to do with our company and like where we're going to move. It's like, oh, this is, now that I've like hadn't seen these, this may be the direction that we go.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I mean, that makes that all just sounds like you were very susceptible to their marketing.
You bet I was.
I think maybe a little bit of that, but honestly, I think a lot of it is just getting to like hold it in your hand, see it on a camera. Getting the face to face helps a lot.
Yeah, you don't get to do. I mean, they would let you they're like, feel free to swap the lenses out, and until you actually like shoot on a full series and compare it in post, you don't really get the same. Like the whole reason you want to buy a set of cinema lenses is so that the 85 and the 35 look the same.
Yeah. Like
from how warm is it? How how much tint does it have one way or the other? Like you want those to look identical, and like that's not something that you get out of that booth. Even if you're swapping lenses,
right? It's
hard to like look at a screen. You're not even looking at footage off of the camera and say, okay, this lens doesn't look different. And so like before we invest into any of this sort of stuff that we've looked at, we got to go look at charts and stuff. But it was still really cool to kind of like talk to them and all that sort of thing. And so I thought their new lenses they were coming out were pretty cool because they had those we'll probably talk about it more later, but they're announced these retro primes.
Yeah, they call it like prime rewind or something.
Yeah, which is I kind of found it as a bit humorous because you can go buy those. You're like, you see like a 0.95 aperture lens on Amazon that costs $100 or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, this lens looks terrible until you get to like f5.6 and then it's just mostly okay.
Yeah.
And what they did is they just made those on purpose.
Yep. and that is kind of how it worked. It was like wide open. It was all like dreamy looking. And then, as you stopped down, it got cleaner and cleaner.
Yeah. And it was like, if you open that thing all the way up to whatever it was, like T1.9 or something, and you just kind of off focused it from the subject like one smidge, it was like putting a Cinebloom on there. There's just like so much glow, and like you got the bubble bokeh and all this sort of stuff. And so it's like maybe you have a really small production and you want to have a lens set where it's like, I can have this look, or I can stop down and not have that look. And now it's like having two different lens sets in one.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's interesting that they're kind of like selling it like that on purpose of, hey, it cleans up at this and we did it like that on purpose. And I guess like you don't really see that too much. Normally you're like, here's some lenses that are purposely detuned and that's it. Or here's like our best cinema lenses that we can make, or here's just some crappy lenses. And you're just expecting them to be bad. So I thought it was kind of cool what they were doing with those rewinds.
I think so too.
I don't know how hard that is. It's just like, what if we took all the bad ones and we just repackaged them?
Yeah.
What if we just sold all the bad ones to something else? That's probably not what they're doing.
I doubt it's that easy.
Most certainly not. Yeah. So those were fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. I liked seeing all the Kickstarter products.
For sure.
There were
so many things. It's like, this is the prototype. Like, yes, tell me more. Love this.
where it's like, we're going to be releasing this on Kickstarter. Like the Kinfinity was one of those.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, hey, it's going to come. I don't remember if that was a Kickstarter or not, but like it's coming out in June or July or whatever.
Yeah.
We talked to the co-founder of Wandered, the bag company, and they showed off their straps, their new strap system, which is like, watch out, peak design.
Strap system is pretty cool.
Daniel, the strap system was pretty cool. We'll probably talk about that more when it comes out. It was so cool.
It was.
He's got like little rings and then like little pins. And you like squeeze the pins onto the rings.
It had magnets.
It had magnets. Yeah. All the things that you want in a lens strap system.
Yes.
But it was just like really, really clever because he's like, look, it's under tension and like you squeeze the thing and like it's just locked out. And you're not going to drop your camera.
Yeah.
But you take it off tension, you just undone.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. Really neat.
It's the first time I've seen something that was not the peak design clip system that wasn't like a buckle.
Yeah.
Every other version of the little round eyelets that Peak Design makes that I've seen has been, in my opinion, just kind of dumb. And this is the first time I've seen one where I'm like, okay, those things that are hanging off the camera aren't huge.
Yeah.
And this system seems really well thought through and like it's going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. And potentially better than the Peak Design.
Stop it. You stop it, Daniel. Wait and see. We got to wait and see, okay? Now, that's just the NAB glow. We'll see. I thought it was really, really cool. And then also they had like the new bag. They're coming out with like a V3 of the traditional Wandered roll top bag, and they're going to come out with one that's not the roll top.
Yeah. They had a cool booth too with the, you could see all the colors, all the bags. You could just pick stuff up and play with it. And I mean, obviously camera stores have some selection of bags, but it was cool to see all of it in one place like that.
All the colors.
I like the orange and I like the burgundy thing that they had.
The new color looked really good. It was like a lighter tanny pink color.
I've never really been a roll top bag person, but their bags did look pretty appealing.
I think that if you're going to buy a Wandered bag, you should only buy the roll top.
Think so. It's kind of their thing.
Yeah. It's like their thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was cool to be I would like see that stuff and it's like this will be out on Kickstarter like later.
Yeah, for sure.
But also now that we know about it, we can watch for it. We can go buy some straps or kickstart some straps.
What other Kickstarters did you see?
There was the Unified Drive Company, which that was like an email and like, Lucas, we're going to meet with these people. I'm like, boo, I don't know what this is. That was wild.
Yeah. Because they sent me an email. I looked at the product, and the link they sent. I was like, okay, I'm kind of interested in this. And it was really cool to see.
It was really cool to see. It was funny, like them like slightly throwing shade at Synology.
A little bit.
Just like a little bit. They're like, just kidding, I have one at home.
Yeah. Yeah, the products they were showing us are basically like a thing where you can be at a shoot, and they've announced some of this, like this isn't.
Well, they have one that you can buy now, and then they have this new one that's coming out later that we'll dive into at some point.
And basically you can put your cards in it while you're finishing up at a shoot, and it offloads the stuff from the cards, backs it up to a RAID like in this little thing. It has AI features where it can kind of like go through and pick out bad photos if you want. And their new one had like a big screen on it where you can see, you could like review photos, which all just sounds like super cool. And I could see how that would fit into some of our shoots. So it was neat getting a walkthrough of that.
Yeah. I want to see when that new one comes out, but the one that's like just currently available seemed like it would be potentially just immediately interesting to have and to use.
I think it's like the UT2 or something. We can put a link in the show notes.
Yeah,
but it was like right. I think the price is something like $400 without storage, which is the killer because NVMe drives are really expensive right now. But that one just it has a CF Express an SD reader on the side. You put stuff in and then it just automatically transfers off. Like it has a battery in it. Yeah. And I just picture like we finished shooting an interview, you can just throw all your cards in that while you're packing your gear up and like everything's backed up.
Yeah, it was just that it's so much more than that is the thing that really got me. Because like when you describe it to someone as like, here's a external drive and you can plug your cards into it and it'll copy it. That sounds great. Like sign me up, stick them in there, copy them off, whatever. But the new one has even more features because it runs Android. But like the UT2 one like doesn't have a screen. It's just like a thing. But it has like a charging USB-C port, a data USB-C port, data USB-A, HDMI, Ethernet, and then a UHS 1 card slot and a CF Express Type B.
And I think it has Wi-Fi built in. 3
card slot, and it has Wi-Fi. And so, but it's like you can plug your SD, like if you were recording to an SD drive, like an SSD, yeah, and off of like some cinema camera or whatever, and then you wanted to plug that in and copy, like you can do that in addition to CF Express, in addition to SD, and you can copy them simultaneously. But it's like once you're home, it's just like a NAS, like on your network, where it's like I've connected this to my home network, and so when I'm home, I can just like access it. Or if you're on like remote, you can just point to point Wi-Fi to it and access it that way and dump files or bring files over. So like, that was like really, really neat. And it was the concept of being able to have this drive, plug everything into it and dump to it. And then as soon as I get home, it connects to the network and starts copying things over to the Synology.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Because that's just a whole step that it saves.
For sure.
So
yeah. I mean, every time we do an interview shoot, we're always having to copy footage afterward. And the way we're typically doing it is we both sit there with laptops and we each take all the cards and copy them to SSDs. And then when we get home, we're having to use your computer to copy it to the Synology, and it seems so much easier to just take that thing, plug it in with a Ethernet, and then have it copy over.
I am a huge proponent of like, do not leave until there is a copy of the footage off of the original media.
Yeah.
And we're not necessarily the greatest about that because usually we'll have to be like in and out, but we'll go meet somewhere and immediately do the copy.
Yeah.
But man, like whenever we did that TV shoot a few years ago, there was a point where they're like, we think we lost everything and we're having to rebuild this hard drive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't have 2 copies of everything? And it's like, no, it's just on this hard drive that I've been carrying around.
Yeah.
It's like, what? What?
Well, and the other thing, I can't remember if the UT2 does this. I know their new one does. The ones that run Android do, but I think they might all do this where it does the copy and then it also does like an MD5 checksum of the data, which means that you're not just copying it off. It's verifying that everything was copied the same way it exists on the card, which is a nice extra step that you don't get normally.
Yeah, and the UT2 will do RAID 1 or RAID 0, which is amazing. Because like if you said the RAID 0, you're just going to get a really fast copy because it'll stripe. But I mean, you can have it just duplicate.
Yeah. Sure,
it cuts down your storage. And like if you buy an 8 terabyte NVMe drive, it's going to cost you like an arm and a leg and a Honda Civic.
Yeah.
But if the data integrity is really, really important, it's like super sweet to be able to have it on your card and also have it in 2 copies on this drive.
Yeah. Yeah. Really neat product.
Really cool. And like that's just the UT2, which I didn't know anything about. And they're like, oh, we also have like a UT6 that's even bigger and does like things. This isn't even the new thing, Daniel. Yeah. You can just go buy this right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We'll talk about the new thing later.
Yes,
probably, definitely.
And then you have on here too the ProGrade combo reader. That was a cool thing.
Oh yeah. That was another one that it was like, oh, this is coming out later, and I'm not even going to be able to wait for that one because that's like mid-May, and I really need an SD card reader. But it was. I can't even remember what was new about it. It was like magnetic, and it was like Thunderbolt 4 or something.
It's 2-in-1. So I mean, because I have a ProGrade CF Express Type B reader. It uses CF Express 4.0, and it's a USB 4 reader, and that thing copies footage off of my CF Express card insanely fast. Like I can copy 100 gig interview incredibly quickly.
Yeah, well, you bought a CF Express 4.0, which no cameras that I'm aware of right now yet support 4.0. They keep releasing cameras that are 3.1.
Right.
But if you have a 4.0 card and a 4.0 reader, you can still get the advantage on the copying side.
Yeah, because the camera not supporting it just means that the camera's not riding at that full speed, but it doesn't need to.
Yeah, it doesn't.
The camera's not dumping enough data for that to be a problem. But yeah, it helps when you copy off. But I have their CF Express reader. I love it. And now what they're announcing is one that, like a slightly taller reader that has CF Express Type B as well as a UHS 2 SD card, all in one reader, and it can copy off of both of them at once. So you can put in your SD card and your CF Express and copy everything to the computer at really fast speeds.
Weren't they coming out with one that had dual dual cards on it or something?
Well, that's what this is. It's CF Express and SD.
No, I mean like multiple CF Express.
I don't think so. You might be thinking that they had another thing there that was like a card carrier. You know, they had like a big like a case.
That was funny because they were like, here's this card carrier, and you could just fit a ton of UHS2 cards in it, or not UHS2, CF Express Type B.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to imagine if you had $10,000 worth of cards just like in this little thing.
Yeah, the way that the prices of storage now. But yeah, that reader seemed really cool, and I'm interested in getting one. When it comes out.
You can buy a CF Express combo from them now. This is Type A, the one that I'm looking at, but you can just like buy it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm definitely gonna get one of those things. It was cool.
Yeah.
Cool to talk to them because they had just like a little booth.
Mm-hmm.
And you were just like cruising by, and you're like, oh no, wait, I have their stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And then I looked at it, I was like, wait, that one looks different. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. So that was pretty neat because there's a few of those where you're just like maybe just walking by and you go, oh, well, maybe we'll talk to these people, and those often were maybe the more interesting conversations than trying to like, I don't know, talk to Canon or something.
For sure.
That's not fair. Canon was fine. It just I bounced off the Canon booth like 2 times before I actually had an interesting conversation with somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the smaller ones, you know, I mean, the less well attended. You know, you get more hands-on time with the people. Which is fun.
Yeah, for sure. What else do we have here? So other Kickstarter things. We talked about the Nisi stuff. We talked about Infinity. That was maybe the most ones that come to mind that were like coming out later.
Yeah.
We talked to the people over at Zhiyun, and I think those were also not quite out yet. I think the light, that 200 V mount,
I think that was
isn't
new.
quite out.
Yeah, because I have the Zhiyun. Mine's the Molus X100. It's like a little iPhone-sized, iPhone shape. You know, it's thicker than that. 100-watt light. I've had that for a while, over a year, maybe 2 years. And they came out with a 200-watt light. You know, that's obviously a little bit bigger, but what's interesting about it is that it has a V mount on the side, so you can use a V mount battery with it. Yeah,
I can't remember what that thing was. What the thing was called? It was like something 200. It wasn't the Modulus or whatever it's called, a different brand. But
and I think it's RGB, which is also cool.
It was RGB. It was like desert gray, brown, or something like that. It was a very good color.
Yes,
it's like the color of a Toyota Tacoma or something. And I know that those come in different colors also, Daniel. But it was just like you just like mount a V mount to it.
Yeah,
you just put a V mount on it.
It's really cool.
That's what I need. I mean, like my light takes a V mount also, but it's like on the cable thing.
Yeah,
I wanted to be on the light. I don't know why I wanted it on the light, but I wanted it on the light.
Well, it's just what's nice about those lights is that they're so much easier to carry around. They're so much smaller. I mean, a light like yours, you have the light body itself, but then you also have that whole extra like power pack controller thing that you have to hang off the light stand, and you know, it's just it ends up being like a lot to set up. It's nice. Some of these are really small.
Yeah, if you're deploying in a lot of varied locations, smaller, easier to set up gear is always very much welcome.
Yeah. They also showed Zhiyun also had a gimbal that has a little camera on it, so that the gimbal can do face tracking.
Maybe it was the Molus X200. Anyways, yeah, the face tracking gimbal was absurd.
Yeah,
it was just absolutely
interesting
ridiculous.
Idea. It had a light, like an LED light built into it that was extremely bright.
Yep, that way you can blind people and track them.
Yep.
So they're like, oh, I can't see, but the gimbal can see them.
Yes.
That thing was a little buggy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a few things to work out on that one, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing that I thought was fun was just like literally just talking to people about gear. There was a huge number of booths that had like creators or whatever there, where it's like either they partnered with this company to make a product, like Mondo was at that core battery table because he like helped them, like worked with them to make a case or something. Which those V-mount batteries, Daniel, those are pretty stinking cool.
Yeah, with the little magnet.
Yep,
magnet stacking.
They have like a you can stack a magnet. They can magnet stack them, and then they were talking. He was talking to me about how he's like, yeah, when we originally designed it, it was like you like drop in. They do all different mounts. Like you can do like gold mount and V mount or whatever. But like you like V mount this thing onto your camera or whatever, and then you magnet the second one to the back of it. And what we were doing before was we were just discharging the first one, and it got to 0. Then we discharged the second one, and we got like feedback that people were like, well, now I have to take both of them off in order to swap them out. And instead, like, let's do it the other way. And so if you have the first battery on the camera and then you magnet the second battery, as soon as you magnet the second battery on, it'll start discharging from the second battery and then leave the first battery wherever it was on charge. It's not like second battery charging the first battery charging the camera, because that would just be a bunch of waste of energy.
Yeah, you lose efficiency.
Yeah, and so it's like if you discharge the main battery on the camera down to like 20%, and then you slap a backup battery on it, now like you're gonna start discharging from the backup battery and leave the original one at 20%. And he was like, yeah, I have to know this guy that shoots like, I forget if it was like soccer or something, that they're like doing 14-hour day shoots, and he just like he'll discharge the first one a little ways, and then he'll just start hot swapping ones off of the back in order to keep things running. And I'm like, that's really a super cool solution.
Because basically the first battery is kind of acting as a battery backup.
Yeah.
So you don't camera and turn
and off. It's like, yeah, sure, you see solutions out there that are like, here you mount like 2 batteries next to each other on like dual V-mount plates. Or I think we saw a couple NABs ago, someone came out with like, it has like a built-in battery, just a hot swap.
Yeah. Well, like the
into the plate itself.
The GFX Eterna has the little Fuji battery, the WT35, kind of for a similar purpose.
But like that one stops recording. And so it's just like another version of that solution. But if you have a camera that's already V-mount, then now you're not adding like some interim plate solution. You're just like, just do 2 smaller batteries.
Well, and then they also had like a charging case that used that same magnet thing to just like pop batteries in.
Yeah, and it's like, here's the charging case solution. And then you take the magnet bases and you just swap out the magnet bases for whichever configuration of batteries that you want.
Yeah.
And then you just magnet them on. It was so stinking cool. And they had one that went on the bottom of like it was a screw mount, but they were showing it on the bottom of that like Black Magic iPhone dock thing that came out last September.
With the iPhone 17 Pro.
Yeah. But they had it on the bottom of that, and so you like magnet a small battery. But honestly, I was like, this would be a great solution if you just like one of our broadcast cameras is like a V mount on the bottom of a A7 III, and it's like, this seems like that would be even easier because then you just slap the battery on the. Anyways,
for sure.
I've looked at V-mount batteries, and sometimes it's really intimidating or hard to like look at different systems. Like you're just scrolling B&H trying to find the one that doesn't cost $1 billion or whatever.
Yep.
And like I've been really happy with the small rig V-mount batteries, but these core ones are like not really that much more expensive. And it's this whole like magnetic system. I'm like, honestly, if I was to buy more battery, I'd probably buy these ones. These seem like super
Didn't they
cool.
have some feature where you could discharge USB-C, or like you could plug a cable in and like set the voltage? What was the deal?
Yeah, he was telling me that like they had put USB-C power delivery on it, and they had somebody who needed a battery solution where they needed just like straight up just 12 volts. And he said that they have a product that like you plug into the USB-C and then you can set the voltage, like a voltage regulator, to just be like do PD only at this voltage.
Yeah.
And it'll handle the communication to the USB-C so that you're delivering like the proper voltage out.
So you could basically use that USB-C port to power dumb products that can't do PD.
Right. And the USB-C ports on these things they're like, it's probably annoying that it's a little proprietary, but they're sunken in where you would have like a rubber kind of like male-female type connection that goes over the USB-C plug, so it's a little more of a secure
lock it in.
like lock. Yeah, it all seems like really, really well thought through, and it was super cool.
Yeah.
And so it's, I don't know. There's people who want to talk about batteries for like 20 minutes, and there's people who don't want to talk about batteries for 20 minutes, and I'm in the former group. And it was just like, we're waiting for the Viltrox, like whatever raffle thing. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll talk to somebody about V-mount batteries. And just like, oh, actually, this is super, super, super interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And like, that was the great example of you're kind of like around your people.
Yeah.
When you're at that thing.
Yeah, a little bit. So like, that was really fun. I met a guy at the Suri booth who, I guess he's like a filmmaker, and he's been borrowing lenses for them and shooting different things. And he was like, been shooting on a Pixis 12K that he just got because he was on the 6K. Now he moved to a 12K. And he's like shooting on their new 1.5 anamorphic lenses. And like, we got to talk about like, well, like talk to me about the Black Magic camera. Like, what do you like about it? Like, what have you been shooting? And just, that was like super, super fun. And not a conversation that I was expecting to have at the Suri booth.
Yeah.
And I walked away being like, maybe these 1.5 Suri, I think Blazer anamorphic, I think it's Blazer, anamorphics, they seem like pretty good. They don't seem like they're, losing D-squeeze. They released a 100 millimeter anamorphic lens that supports macro.
That's pretty cool.
It was
he showed us, like, he put his finger in front of it, and it's pretty cool.
It was ridiculous. Macro and anamorphic never go together.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing. So that was super, super neat. And then, I mean, who else did I talk to? It was
the GoPro guy.
The GoPro people were really fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if it took, like, I don't know if we ever talked to someone from GoPro. I think you did later.
I did, yeah.
But we talked to two people who were there as like creators, and they gave both of these guys one of the new GoPro Series 1 Mission 1 Series Pro ILS cameras.
Yeah, which has the Micro Four Thirds mount.
Yeah, which has the Micro Four Third mount. And it feels like what they said was, find the most ridiculous lens you can put on this, because that's going to be a good talking point.
Yeah.
And
they did.
The guy that I was talking to was like, had a Mamiya, like, a Mamiya film camera medium format lens that he had put on a speed booster on an adapter onto the Micro Four Third.
And honestly, it still wasn't that big.
It wasn't, no. And I'm like, it was something that I had been thinking about too, of like, oh, it's Micro Four Third, and it's a 1-inch sensor, but like, what if you threw a speed booster on there? Are we going to see people like go dig up their Sigma 18 to 35 f1.8 lenses and slap them onto their speed boosters?
I mean, I'm kind of wishing I hadn't gotten rid of my Micro Four Thirds lenses.
Right.
Now that all this stuff's coming out.
I mean, you shot with the GH5 on the Viltrox speed booster with the 18 to 35.
Yep.
And that was an enormous setup.
It was.
But putting that on a GoPro,
it would be super fun.
Mission 1 Pro ILS would be very fun.
Yep.
And so having the guy be like, oh yeah, no, this is a speed booster. And like, that was really fun to kind of like talk through and talk about the image quality and what kind of stuff we're getting.
Yep. Well, and the other guy there.
The other guy. Yeah, like one of those Fuji, what are they? They're like 8 to, I don't know, 100 something, like broadcast.
Yeah, it has like a servo and stuff on it for zoom and focus.
Yeah, he's just like broadcast lens on a freaking strap with a GoPro attached to it.
Yeah, super cool.
Just absolutely ridiculous.
But you know they were doing that to kind of drive home what's unique about that product.
Yeah,
like the fact that you can use all these weird lenses, and it worked. It was really cool.
It's like, why would you get this? And it's like, well, people have been adapting things to Micro Four Thirds for like 12 years.
Yeah,
and now you get that ecosystem on a camera that can shoot like 240 frames per second in 4K.
Well, and I asked the creator guy, you know, if you compare the ILS to the regular Mission 1 Pro, you know, they're the same price. They announced the pricing at the show. Both are $699.
I was shocked at that. I did not think the ILS was going to be the same price as the Pro.
And I think they're both cheaper than I expected too.
I expected them to be over $1,000.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like $999 for the Pros, and it just isn't. They're $700.
Yeah, and I asked, you know, are you going to get similar image quality out of them? Like, you know, if you get the regular Pro, you know, the built-in lens, and I mean, the answer is exactly what you would expect. It's like the built-in lens is going to be probably wider than anything you would put on the ILS because it's an action camera, but you're going to get better image quality with the optics of a Micro Four Thirds lens. For sure.
I don't know if the Mission 1 Pro comes with a glass lens on it.
I don't know that
either. I think that most of the time you're seeing plastic lenses on these things, maybe sapphire, but being able to put like actual glass on it is just gonna look
well
better.
And it's a Micro Four Thirds lens going into a 1-inch sensor, so you're also going to be using the center of the lens, which is going to look better.
Yep.
And I mean, it just seems like you're going to get better quality on the ILS, but it was kind of interesting seeing both side by side.
Yeah, and like we've seen images off of 1-inch sensors before, and yes, it's maybe a little more limited in dynamic range, that sort of thing. I think that like GoPro's colors and stuff have been decent. You are getting a log profile that's 10-bit. So I'm super curious to start seeing footage coming off of these things.
For sure.
Because like if you're going to shoot, I mean, 4K 240, like I'm trying to think of how many, like what price point do you have to pay to get 4K 240 after this?
Like in something larger than an action cam.
Yeah, like if you're going to buy a non-action cam, or even if you're going to buy an interchangeable lens camera, like just full stop. I mean, I'm struggling, right? I think the XT4 could shoot 1080. You can't get 240 and 4K on an XH2S. I mean, you're you're probably over $3,000.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble like thinking of something
Yeah.
that can do 4K 240 in 16:9.
Well, and I think at 1080, I think it can do 960 frames per second.
Yeah, it can do 10-second bursts at 960.
Wild.
Yeah, it is, and you can shoot open gate at 120. Like if you're, I mean, yeah, it's an 8K sensor, and like that's whenever it's binned out or whatever, which is good because you're gonna get more light anyway. So we'll see. I mean, maybe those are pretty compressed codecs, but maybe not. I mean, I think this is what GoPro is leaning on is if
Compact
you need
cinema camera.
if you need something that is like one, it's small, which is cool, but if you need something that can hit high frame rates for action stuff, and now you can put a lens on it to make it even better.
Yeah, I'm super interested in that product. They showed basically like a cage grip thing where it actually has a hand grip on it.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool. But I'm interested in the handheld aspects of it. Is this a cool little action camera that you can kind of take with you? But I'm also interested to see if it works as a good like micro broadcast type camera.
Yeah,
like, if you're comparing against something like a Blackmagic Micro Studio camera, this is cheaper.
I guess it depends upon like if you can do live output like that.
Yeah. I mean, it could be an interesting thing though if you can run like an HDMI out. I don't know.
Yeah, one limit that I wasn't thinking about whenever we were talking to the guy was, and it makes sense, if you are going to use Hypersmooth, you have to use it on a prime pretty much, like it, because of how it understands the focal length, and like you have to tell the camera, I'm putting this focal length on you, and then that way it knows how to crop in to do Hypersmooth. And if you're using a zoom lens and you change the zoom, things are going to get super weird.
Yeah.
And it's like something that you never had to think about when GoPros were just built-in lenses, or like you could maybe put the wide lens kit on it and that was it. But now it's like, oh, all of a sudden you can put any lens on this thing.
Right.
It changes.
Right.
It changes how some of those features work.
Yeah. Having an interchangeable lens to me makes the whole thing. Like the regular Mission 1 Pro, I'd be like, cool camera, not really that interested. As soon as you see a Micro Four Thirds mount, all of a sudden I'm like, can I justify one of these? Like, what lens would I put on it? Like, it just seems way more interesting.
Yeah, I'm always like, what's the camera that I can always have with me? I'm always thinking about that. And you think I would have solved that by now, but there's just too many options.
Too many options.
I mean, the answer is the GR4, and you like tried to sell me one of those, and I just said no. I was like, I don't see how it fits in my life because I'm dumb. I was like, maybe the answer is the GoPro Mission 1, but it with the grip on it, it's bigger than a GR4. That's
true.
We'll see. It's like as big as like a Pro V1 or whatever. That's a golf ball.
Yeah,
that's a golf ball.
Oh, okay.
It's not bigger than a golf ball. Maybe like 3 Pro V1s.
Yeah,
I can never remember the name of that Canon vlogging camera.
PowerShot V1.
PowerShot V1. That's the one. Yeah. Anyway, so it was really cool talking to those GoPro guys, and let's see. Where are my notes? I think that was mostly it. The Fuji guy. Oh my gosh, Daniel.
The Fuji guy.
Daniel. We got like you were just like talking to him about, I think, broadcast stuff or whatever.
Yep.
Like, broadcast this, broadcast that. He had a GFX 100 RF that he's been shooting on. So I gotta like ask him about his camera, and he's like shooting a bunch of 64x24 or whatever that like super wide is.
Yeah, he said like that's his X-Pan basically.
Yep. And I was like, dude, why don't they just make an X-Pan? Why don't you just like take two sensors and just like put them next to each other and just like make an X-Pan? I don't think they're doing that.
No, I don't
Based
think so
upon
either.
his reaction, doesn't sound like they're gonna put two APS-C sensors next to each other. But maybe they should. Point is, he now knows that that's what I want.
Yep. You have registered your feedback.
I've registered my feedback. Yep. And it was fun talking to him about like color profiles and stuff. And he's like, have you tried the film simulations on the XH2S with F-Log2C? And I got to tell him the Blackmagic now supports F-Log2C gamut.
Yep.
And he didn't know.
Yeah, because that happened like a week before.
Yeah, it was like really, really recently. And I shot like everything that we were there, I shot in F-Log2C. And so I got to play with F-Log2C gamut on the airplane, individual resolve on the way back. And I was having a lot of fun like messing with colors. That was a great part of this experience. Anyways, so I got to tell him that. And then he was like, you can just go download, like we have XH2S film simulation LUTs now, just like the GFX Eterna. And I was like, you do? And so I went online and like, they don't exist. He was lying to me, to my face. Or they're just not out yet.
Yeah.
And maybe he has them, but they're just not there.
It did seem like he had some knowledge of future products.
Yep. I was like, dude, XF Eterna, come on. And he was like, I'm like, is it happening? He's like, well, can't. So confirmed. XF Eterna confirmed. So I don't know. It was good to kind of nerd out about Fuji color stuff and cameras and all that whatever. So apparently the XE5 and the GFX 100 RF both ship with rope straps now.
Yeah, because he had a rope strap on it. You asked about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's just the one it comes with."
I was so mad. I'm like, "How come I don't have a rope strap?" And then I like threatened him. I'm like, "Give me your rope strap," and he wouldn't do it. And we almost got kicked out. Yep. None of that happened.
Yep. None of that happened.
But I do want one of those rope straps.
I feel like him or somebody else said the GFX 100 RF has been really popular.
He did, yeah. Seems like it's doing pretty good. I think the XE5 is popular too. So, I mean, I really want a GFX 100 RF.
Yeah, we all know.
I just really
want it.
Really want one. Oh, he was talking about the lens. He was like saying that sometimes he thought maybe people kind of misunderstood the camera a little bit because it shipped with like that an F4 lens. Yeah, and it's like, well, if I'm shooting in medium format, like why like I want all the speed. I want like super blurry backgrounds. You're talking about how much bigger the camera would have to be, even if you went to like 2.8. Just how much bigger because of like just optics in order to get that coverage onto a medium format sensor. It would just be huge. It'd be a totally different product. And he's like, I think the people maybe like don't quite understand that part, that it's like this would be just very, very different of a product. Whereas we can make this as more of a daily carry if we ship it at F4.
Yep. Yeah, it's always interesting hearing from these brands what their perspective on like why did they design things the way they are, and you know, we feel like we got a couple of things like that were interesting to hear.
I mean, my takeaway on that was like they know. Like they know. It's not like Fuji's out there they're going to make a new lens or a camera, and I mean when they're designing the thing, it's not like they don't expect everyone to say, why isn't it f1.4? Yeah, like they know. Yeah, we talk about it enough. Like they get it, and they have to choose to make those compromises to provide what they think is the best product for the market, even if it means like. It's a worse Wi-Fi chip, or it's like lower resolution on this, or maybe like the battery capacity isn't quite what you want, or the lens doesn't go to f2.8, but the overall product is like achievable and better as a result because of the compromises in it. So yeah, it was good. Man, it was so much fun.
It was. I feel like we learned a lot. We definitely got a lot of stuff we'll be able to talk about in this show and then in the coming weeks, you know, going into more detail about some of the products and stuff. But I think it was really good to get a lot of that hands-on time. It gives us better insight into some of these products.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's pretty much it, right? I mean, we'll get into everything else maybe later.
Yeah, I think so. That's it for the show today. Thanks for joining us, and if you liked it, tell a friend so they can check it out too. You can find out more about the show at www.cameragearpodcast.com, and you can find us on Twitter @CameraGearPod. We'll be back with more next week.